Right now, millions of people are booking the exact same summer vacation, flying south, fighting for a sliver of towel space on a packed, blazing hot beach, sweating through 100-degree days, paying peak season prices, and calling it relaxing. Meanwhile, a fast-growing wave of younger travelers is doing the complete opposite, deliberately flying somewhere cold. 50 degrees, misty, green, and almost empty. And no, they're not weird. They might just be the smartest travelers of the entire year. Because while everyone else slowly melts, they've quietly figured out that the single hottest travel trend of 2026 is, ironically, cold. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why, where they're all going, how much it really costs, and the one catch that stops it from being perfect. Let's dive in. This has an actual name now, the Coolcation. Vacationing somewhere deliberately cool to escape the heat instead of chasing the heat like we always used to. And it exploded for a very real, very simple reason. Summers keep shattering heat records. The classic Mediterranean and tropical hotspots, the ones we were all raised to think of as summer, are now genuinely, sometimes dangerously hot in July and August, with wildfires, heat warnings, red alerts, and enormous crowds all packed together into shimmering, sweaty misery. So a new kind of logic quietly took over, especially among younger travelers. Why on earth would I fly straight toward the exact thing everyone else is desperately trying to survive? Why not fly instead to where the air is crisp, the landscapes are vivid green instead of scorched brown, and I can actually sleep at night without melting into the sheets? Cold stopped being the thing you grudgingly tolerate in winter and became the thing you actively seek out in summer. And the destinations? They are absolutely spectacular. Start with the undisputed king of the Coolcation, Iceland. In the height of summer, when southern Europe is baking, Iceland sits at a crisp, jacket-em-a-light sweater temperature, and it looks like a completely different planet. Waterfalls thundering off vivid green cliffs, black sand beaches, steaming geysers firing into the sky, glaciers, lava fields, and raw volcanic landscapes stretching all the way to the horizon. And here is the pure summer magic of going this far north, the midnight sun. Up here, the sun barely dips below the horizon in June and July, which gets you almost endless golden daylight to explore. Imagine hiking to a roaring waterfall at 11 o'clock at night, bathed in soft, low golden light. Then imagine sinking into a natural geothermal hot spring, surrounded on all sides by cold, clean, crisp air. The exact, perfect opposite of a sweaty, elbow-to-elbow beach. Iceland is where the Coolcation went fully mainstream, and honestly, one look at it and you completely understand why. Next up, Norway, and specifically, the fjords. Picture deep blue-green inlets of seawater carving their way between towering snow-capped cliffs. Tiny bright red wooden villages clinging to the shoreline, ferries gliding silently through mirror-still channels of water that perfectly reflect the mountains above. In summer, it is cool, fresh, and almost impossibly scenic, with, again, those long glowing northern days that never seem to end. You can ride some of the most beautiful train and boat routes on the entire planet, hike out to viewpoints hanging thousands of feet directly over the water, and never once, not for a single moment, feel too hot. Norway is the Coolcation for people who want dramatic, cinematic, jaw-on-the-floor nature at a genuinely comfortable temperature. It is the very definition of grand. It is also, fair warning, not cheap at all. But hold that thought, because we're going to deal with the catch head-on. Now, if you want cool weather with a heavy side of ancient, moody, dramatic atmosphere, then you go to Scotland. Rolling green highlands that seem to go on forever. Misty, glassy lochs. Dramatic stone castles perched right on the edges of cliffs. And the wild, windswept, almost mythical eyeless sky. Summer here is mild, soft, and impossibly green. Perfect for long hikes, slow road trips winding through completely empty glens, and cozy evenings nursing a drink in a warm pub, while, incredibly, it's still light outside at 10 at night. It has a completely different flavor from the Nordic countries, less alien and stark, more legend and folklore and fog, like physically walking through the setting of every single fantasy story you loved as a kid. And here is the kicker. Scotland is often noticeably more affordable than Iceland or Norway, which makes it a genuine sweet spot for a first-timer's Coolcation. And there's a whole family of these places. Actually, it goes much deeper. Because beyond the big three, there is a whole next tier of Coolcations for the truly adventurous. The Faroe Islands. Remote, grass-roofed villages perched on impossible cliffs in the middle of the wild North Atlantic. So untouched, they still feel like a genuine secret. Greenland. Literal icebergs drifting silently past your window, opening up to tourism in a way it simply never has before in history. Alaska and British Columbia. right here in North America, glaciers, breaching whales, and towering old-growth forest. And for Americans, Alaska needs no passport at all. And then Lapland, way up in northern Finland and Sweden, where in summer the sun never fully sets and reindeer wander freely across open tundra under a sky that glows all night. Every single one of these gives you the exact same core promise: escape the heat, escape the crushing crowds, and go stand somewhere so beautiful and so cool that it genuinely resets your entire nervous system. And if the far-flung Arctic stuff feels like a lot for a first try, there is a gentler middle tier that's perfect for easing in. The Alps in summer, Switzerland, Austria, the Italian and French mountains. Trade the scorching valleys below for cool, flower-covered high meadows, cowbells, turquoise mountain lakes you can swim in, and cable cars that lift you straight up into crisp alpine air while the cities bake far beneath you. The Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, give you gorgeous, cool, walkable old towns and pine forests for a fraction of Nordic prices. Slovenia's Lake Bled looks like a fairy tale and stays comfortable all summer. And back in North America, the Canadian Rockies around Banff and the Pacific Northwest deliver glaciers, alpine lakes, and cool evenings without ever leaving the continent. These are the Coolcations you take when you want the escape from the heat, without the eye-watering Iceland price tag. The easy on-ramp to the whole idea. So, why does a Coolcation actually feel so much better, beyond just the obvious win of not sweating through your shirt? A few reasons, and they're more real and more backed by how our bodies work than you guess. First, cool crisp air makes it dramatically easier to actually be active. You'll happily hike, walk, and explore for 6 hours straight, instead of hiding in the shade or a hotel room from noon onward, like you're forced to in real heat. Second, humans sleep genuinely, measurably better in cool temperatures, which means you come home from the trip actually rested and restored, instead of somehow more wrecked than when you left. Third, the landscapes are green, alive, and lush, instead of brown, dusty, and scorched. So everything you look at is simply more beautiful. And fourth, and this one's huge, while the hot spots are jam solid and overpriced at the peak of summer, a lot of these northern places are having their single best, most comfortable, most alive season of the entire year, so you're getting peak beauty without the peak misery. This is not just being contrarian for the sake of it. It's genuinely structurally a better product. But it does come with a price. Literally. So here's the honest catch, and there are 3 real parts to it. Part 1. Cost. Iceland, Norway, Greenland. These are, flatly, some of the most expensive countries on the entire planet. A Coolcation to the very top tier spots can seriously, genuinely hurt your wallet. Which is exactly why the smart move is to mix in the cheaper cool options like Scotland, or the Baltic countries, or to travel in the shoulder season when prices soften. Part 2. The weather is cool, not warm, and it can be genuinely, wildly unpredictable. Rain, wind, fog, and fast-changing conditions are all just part of the deal, so understand that this is a trip about dramatic landscapes and good layers, not about lying flat on a towel working on a tan. And part 3, the secret is very much getting out. As the heat waves get worse every year, these destinations are getting more popular and more crowded every single season. Iceland especially is feeling it hard. So that dreamy, empty, and untouched part of the fantasy? It has a clock ticking on it, which leads straight to the real takeaway. So how do you actually pull off a Coolcation without emptying your bank account? A few concrete moves. 1. Pick your tier honestly. If the budget is tight, start with Scotland, Ireland, or the Baltics rather than jumping straight to Norway or Greenland. 2. Travel in June or early September rather than the absolute peak, for softer prices and thinner crowds. 3. Lean into the specific magic of the North. Self-drive road trips, hostels and guest houses, cooking some of your own food, and free, wide-open nature instead of expensive resorts. Because up here, the landscape itself is the main attraction and a dust charge admission. And 4. Book the flights early. Because as this trend keeps growing, the cheap seats to these places vanish faster every year. Do that, and a Coolcation goes from a scary luxury splurge to something a normal person on a normal budget can genuinely pull off. Now here's the bigger thing quietly happening underneath this whole trend. The world's travel map is being permanently redrawn by climate right in front of us. For decades, the word vacation basically meant going somewhere hot. That was the entire default. But as summers keep intensifying, the places that were once written off as too cold, too gray, or too far north are steadily becoming the desirable, comfortable, in-demand destinations. And meanwhile, some of the classic hotspots are slowly turning into places to actively avoid at the peak of summer. So the Coolcation is not some quirky little fad that'll blow over by next year. It's an early visible sign of a genuinely permanent shift in where and when human beings are going to travel from here on out. The travelers catching on right now in their 20s and 30s are simply standing a few years ahead of a curve that the entire industry is about to be dragged along. Going cold isn't weird, it's just early. So come all the way back to that choice from the very beginning. One crowd flies south, straight into the heat, the mobs, and the peak prices, and calls the resulting sunburn relaxation. The other crowd flies north into crisp, clean air, glowing midnight skies, wide, empty green landscapes, and honestly the best sleep of their entire year. Both of them are technically summer vacation, but only one of them is fighting the season the whole time instead of actually enjoying it. Cold, it turns out, isn't the thing you need to escape from it all. This summer, it might just be the escape itself, and now you know exactly where to find it. If flying somewhere cold on purpose suddenly makes total sense to you, subscribe. I dig up the trips most people haven't even thought of yet, every single week. And if you're about to take your very first big trip abroad, do not book a single thing until you've seen the next one. 5 things nobody ever tells first-timers, and number 3 can genuinely, actually get you deported. That video is on your screen right now. Go watch it.